There is a silent truth that many men over 60 ignore every morning when they walk into their kitchen. Among the foods that seem the most harmless, there is one fruit that, without them even realizing it, could be slowly stealing their strength, energy, and virility. For decades, we have been taught that all fruits are synonymous with health, vitality, and longevity. However, what most people don't know is that some fruits can turn into real hormonal saboteurs as the body ages and physiological needs change. I have seen hundreds of older men struggle with fatigue, loss of desire, and lack of confidence, convinced that it was simply part of getting older. But the reality is very different. In many cases, the problem wasn't age itself, but what they were eating every day, thinking it was healthy. In my practice, I have witnessed incredible transformations. Men who believed they had lost their vitality forever rediscovered renewed energy, a clearer mind, and a stronger body simply by adjusting what they put on their plate. And surprisingly, the change began by eliminating a single fruit that most people considered harmless. This is not about extreme diets or miracle pills. It's about understanding how certain foods interact with male hormones, especially testosterone, the real engine of strength, mood, and male potency. When a man over 60 starts eating with purpose, guided by knowledge instead of habit, his body responds almost immediately. Circulation improves, sleep becomes deeper, the mind clears, and self-confidence returns. But before talking about the fruits that can help you achieve this transformation, it is essential to understand that not all fruits are equal. Some work in your favor, supporting blood flow and raising hormone levels, while others act quietly against you, increasing estrogen, triggering insulin spikes, and reducing nitric oxide, the essential molecule for a firm erection and good vascular health. In the following sections, we will explore in depth the fruits that could be draining your energy and those that can help you naturally regain your vitality. And if you are a man who wants to stay strong, active, and self-assured without relying on pills, this knowledge can make the difference between resigning yourself to the passage of time or living with a renewed sense of power and well-being. Before continuing, I would love to know something to connect with our community. Which city or country are you watching from? Write it in the comments. I enjoy getting to know the people who truly care about their health, and it helps me create content that is more useful and relevant for you and your region. Let's get straight to the point. After 60, the male body undergoes a series of silent transformations that are rarely understood in depth. Hormones, especially testosterone, begin to fluctuate, not only because of the passage of time, but also because of the way a man eats every day. The connection between what we eat and hormonal balance is much closer than most people imagine. Testosterone, the hormone that for decades has allowed us to maintain muscle strength, energy, and desire, doesn't disappear overnight, but it can be dramatically affected by modern eating habits. Many older men continue to eat the same foods they did when they were younger, without realizing that their metabolism no longer responds the same way. An aging body processes sugars more slowly, stores fat more easily, and has different hormonal sensitivity. What once was a balanced meal can now become a burden that blocks natural testosterone production. In addition, excessive fructose and insulin spikes caused by certain fruits or processed products create a vicious cycle in which testosterone drops, cortisol rises, and the body fills with fatigue, sadness, and lack of vital drive. But nutrition doesn't just influence hormones. It also affects circulation, oxygenation, and the body's ability to produce nitric oxide, a substance essential for erectile function and maintaining the elasticity of blood vessels. When blood flow is compromised by a diet high in hidden sugars and foods with pesticides or preservatives, sexual and physical energy gradually deteriorates. I have treated men who came to my office believing their problems were purely psychological, when in reality it all originated from a combination of internal inflammation and hormonal imbalance caused by poor nutrition. Restoring balance doesn't require eliminating all pleasures from the table, but understanding which foods support testosterone production and which block it. For example, a diet rich in lean proteins, healthy fats, and specific fruits can naturally boost hormone levels without the need for medication. The key is to recognize that every bite has a direct effect on virility, energy, and mood. Eating well after 60 is not just a matter of general health, but a powerful tool to preserve male identity, personal confidence, and the ability to fully enjoy life. We live in an age where information about nutrition is abundant, but it is rarely understood in depth. Men over 60 face a maze of conflicting advice coming from magazines, television programs, or even professionals who repeat theories without adapting them to the reality of a mature body. For decades, we were taught that all fruits, without exception, were beneficial, that natural sugar could never be harmful, and that simply filling the plate with colors was enough to stay healthy. But the truth is that not every body reacts the same way, and with age, the effects of certain foods change dramatically. The problem arises when a man in his 60s or 70s continues to eat with the mindset he had at 30. His metabolism no longer has the same speed or the same ability to process sugars, and what once was a source of energy now becomes a cause of fatigue, fat accumulation, and hormonal imbalance. That nutritional confusion creates frustration because many believe they are doing the right thing. They eat fruit in abundance, avoid fats, and reduce protein, thinking they are protecting their heart, without knowing that these choices may be lowering their testosterone and sexual vitality. Male virility does not depend solely on anatomy or age, but on a complex combination of hormones, circulation, sleep, emotional state, and diet. When the diet is unbalanced, testosterone levels drop and estrogen, a typically female hormone, rises. Excess estrogen leads to abdominal fat retention, muscle loss, and decreased sexual desire. This causes many men to feel drained, unmotivated, as if their identity had faded over time. However, the main cause is not always age, but habits they repeat without questioning. I have heard men in my office say with resignation that they are no longer the same, or that passion simply fades with age. But when they adjust their diet and understand which foods interfere with their hormonal balance, the results are astonishing. They regain energy, mood, and even confidence in their intimate relationships. The body responds like a finely tuned machine when it receives the right fuel. That is why understanding the difference between foods that nourish virility and those that sabotage it is an act of knowledge, not vanity. In the following sections, we will see concrete examples of how dietary confusion translates into a loss of vitality, and how small changes can restore strength and confidence that men thought were gone forever. For a long time, grapes have been considered a symbol of wellness, prosperity, and good health. Their shiny appearance, sweet taste, and ease of consumption at any time have made them one of the most popular fruits in the world. Many men eat them without worry, thinking they are making a healthy choice, especially those looking to care for their heart or manage blood pressure. However, behind that harmless appearance hides a silent enemy to male vitality, particularly for men over 60. What seems like a simple natural fruit could be slowly sabotaging hormone levels and blood circulation, two essential pillars for maintaining an active, intimate life and consistent energy. What few people know is that commercially grown grapes are often among the most heavily treated fruits. Large amounts of pesticides and preservatives are used in their cultivation to keep them fresh, shiny, and pest-free during transport. This industrial process, designed to meet global demand, transforms an originally healthy fruit into a vehicle for toxic substances that interfere with the male endocrine system. Many of these compounds mimic estrogen, the female hormone that, when accumulated in a man's body, displaces testosterone and disrupts its natural balance. The effect is not immediately noticeable, but over time it results in lower energy, increased belly fat, sleep difficulties, and a marked decrease in sexual desire and firmness. I have seen many patients arrive convinced they were eating correctly. One man, 67 years old, ate 2 handfuls of grapes every day after breakfast. He believed they were helping with his blood pressure, unaware that those non-organic grapes were responsible for his growing fatigue and nights without vitality. When I asked him to remove them from his diet, along with other fruits high in pesticide residues, and replace them with clean alternatives, the change was remarkable. In just 3 weeks, he began noticing improved energy, better sleep, and, most surprisingly, the return of morning firmness that had disappeared years ago. These results repeat over and over, confirming something many men do not want to believe. Even a natural food can become a silent saboteur if its true effect on the body is not understood. This is not about demonizing grapes, but recognizing that the body of an older man reacts differently and more sensitively to hormonal imbalances. Testosterone, which naturally declines with age, can be further compromised by small external stimuli such as chemical residues present in certain fruits. When combined with a sedentary lifestyle or a sugar-rich diet, the result is a perfect storm for the loss of vitality. Grapes, seemingly sweet and noble, represent exactly this type of hidden enemy. They serve as a reminder that not everything that appears natural is truly beneficial, and that the key to maintaining male strength is looking beyond appearances and learning to distinguish between what is healthy and what is merely popular. When a man over 60 consumes conventionally grown grapes, he rarely considers the invisible effects these small fruits may have on his body. The truth is that grapes are among the most heavily sprayed crops in the world, and these chemicals are not completely removed with a simple wash. Many remain on the skin and seep into the flesh, entering the body every time they are eaten. Once inside, these compounds can silently alter the hormonal processes that regulate your energy, sexual desire, and ability to maintain good circulation. It is a slow sabotage that accumulates over the years, leading to a progressive drop in testosterone and a loss of vitality that is often mistaken for natural aging. Among the most commonly used pesticides on grapes are those that act as endocrine disruptors. These substances mimic estrogen, a hormone that, in excess, interferes with natural testosterone production. When the body senses elevated levels of estrogen or its chemical imitators, the glands responsible for testosterone reduce their activity in an attempt to balance the system. It is a vicious cycle. The more pesticides you consume, the more your ability to produce testosterone naturally decreases. Over time, this manifests as reduced muscle strength, abdominal fat accumulation, mood changes, difficulty concentrating, and decreased desire. It all begins with small daily decisions, like choosing a seemingly healthy fruit that has been treated with products your body can no longer process, as it did 20 years ago. But the damage is not limited to hormones. Many of these chemicals also affect liver function, the organ responsible for removing toxins and metabolizing hormones. When the liver is overloaded with pesticide residues, its ability to properly process testosterone is compromised. This creates a double impact: less available testosterone and more toxins circulating through the body. Additionally, some studies have shown that pesticides can reduce sperm quality, affect blood circulation, and increase systemic inflammation. This constant inflammation is a direct enemy of vitality, as it consumes energy, reduces tissue oxygenation, and accelerates cellular deterioration. What seems like a simple eating habit ends up becoming an invisible burden that ages the body from within. That is why, when we talk about male health after 60, it is not enough to count calories or reduce sugar. It is essential to consider food purity and understand that the source matters as much as the nutritional content. A grape grown with respect for the soil and without chemicals can provide powerful antioxidants that protect the heart and circulation. But the same grape, if saturated with pesticides, becomes a direct enemy of the hormones that sustain your energy and desire. The difference lies in quality, not appearance. And this is a lesson many men discover too late, when hormonal imbalance symptoms are already evident and harder to reverse. Caring for your testosterone starts with something as simple as choosing better what you put on your plate. Once you understand how pesticides and chemicals present in grapes can affect your testosterone and overall health, the next step is to act intelligently. It is not about living in fear of every food, but learning to choose more consciously. The good news is that there are simple ways to reduce the negative impact without completely giving up the pleasure of eating fruit. The body has an enormous capacity for recovery, even after years of exposure to harmful substances, as long as you start giving it a clean and balanced environment. The first change starts with the source. Grapes grown organically or sustainably are significantly safer because they are produced without synthetic pesticides or chemical fertilizers. These grapes retain their natural antioxidants, such as polyphenol and resveratrol, without the toxic load that interferes with hormonal balance. It's true that they may be a bit more expensive, but what you're really paying for is not just the fruit, but the peace of mind knowing you are not introducing poisons into your body. Investing in clean foods is investing in years of vitality, sustained energy, and a clearer mind. Another essential aspect is how fruits are washed and handled before consumption. Many men simply rinse grapes under running water, but that is not enough to remove chemical residues. A more effective method is to soak them in a mixture of water and vinegar for a few minutes, which helps dissolve surface pesticides and clean off the wax that often covers the fruit's skin. If possible, you can also peel them, although this reduces some of the fiber. The key is balancing cleanliness with nutrition without going to extremes. It's also helpful to understand that grapes are not the only option for enjoying a sweet, antioxidant-rich flavor. You can replace them with fruits that have a similar taste or texture profile but carry a lower risk of chemical exposure. Blackberries, blueberries, and fresh plums, for example, offer similar benefits and usually contain fewer pesticide residues when grown responsibly. These alternatives not only help maintain stable testosterone levels, but also support circulation and reduce inflammation. Often, changing a habit doesn't mean giving something up, but discovering something better that your body responds to with more energy and a renewed sense of well-being. Finally, it's important to remember that eating should not be a source of anxiety, but a tool for empowerment. Choosing organic grapes, varying your fruits, and reducing exposure to chemicals is not a trend or an exaggeration. It is a way to protect the foundation of your virility. Male hormonal health is built with small daily decisions that, when accumulated, transform your body from the inside. When you make conscious choices, your body responds. Your energy improves, circulation is reactivated, and that constant feeling of fatigue begins to disappear. Everything starts with one decision: to prefer what is natural, clean, and truly nourishing. For decades, canned fruit cocktails were presented as a practical and healthy alternative. Many older men grew up seeing those colorful jars in the family pantry, believing they were a quick source of vitamins and energy. But behind that innocent appearance hides a sweet trap that, over the years, can become a silent enemy of male health. What seems like a natural mix of fruits is actually a concentrate of sugar, industrial syrups, and preservatives that deeply disrupt metabolism and affect hormone production. This is especially true for men over 60, whose bodies already process sugar more slowly. These products can accelerate hormonal decline and cause a noticeable loss of vitality. When you open a can of fruit in syrup, what you're really consuming is not the fruit's original nutrients, but a degraded version. The canning process involves high temperatures that destroy much of the natural vitamins and antioxidants. To compensate for the loss of flavor, companies add corn syrup, liquid fructose, or refined sugar, creating a combination that tricks the palate but harms the body. Every spoonful of that sweet liquid raises blood glucose levels, forces the pancreas to produce more insulin, and triggers a hormonal cascade that ultimately affects testosterone. It is a subtle but constant process that drains energy, weakens circulation, and reduces sexual desire without the man realizing the root cause. I have met patients who, trying to reduce their consumption of sweets, replaced cakes or candies with canned fruit cocktails, believing they were making a smart choice. However, after a short time, they noticed increased fatigue, more belly fat, and a sense of heaviness they could not explain. What they didn't realize was that this small daily habit kept their blood sugar elevated for hours, which prevented natural testosterone production and promoted fat storage instead of available energy. This is one of the most common traps in modern nutrition because the packaging says fruit and the flavor seems natural, but the metabolic effect is very different. Additionally, many of these canned fruits are preserved with chemicals that alter gut flora. The intestines are a key organ for hormonal health, as they produce and regulate many compounds that influence mood, energy, and desire. When the microbiota is damaged by excess sugar or preservatives, the body enters a state of chronic inflammation that hinders the absorption of essential minerals such as zinc and magnesium. Without these nutrients, testosterone decreases, circulation slows, and the nervous system loses agility. Gradually, what began as an apparently healthy habit turns into an invisible chain of imbalances affecting both mind and body. That is why it is so important to look beyond the packaging and understand that true nutrition does not come canned or coated in syrup. Fruit in its natural, fresh, unprocessed form retains the living structure that the body recognizes and can use. In contrast, industrial versions, while convenient, bring more problems than benefits. Re-educating the palate and choosing real foods is not just an aesthetic or diet matter, but an essential step to protect virility and overall well-being. Every dietary decision counts, and what you choose today can make the difference between a life full of energy and desire or a routine drained by fatigue and hormonal imbalance. The human body was not designed to handle the enormous amount of fructose consumed today. In its natural form, fructose in a piece of fresh fruit comes with fiber, water, and micronutrients that moderate its absorption. However, when that same fructose is present in excess, concentrated, or added in syrups and processed products, it becomes a silent enemy attacking from within. The most dangerous part is that its effect is not immediately noticeable. For years, it may seem harmless, but gradually it affects the vascular system, damaging arteries and reducing the body's ability to produce and maintain adequate testosterone levels. In men over 60, this process is even more critical because arterial elasticity is already compromised, and any excess sugar can accelerate the loss of vitality. When the body receives too much fructose, the liver is forced to work intensely to metabolize it. Unlike glucose, which circulates through the blood and is used by cells for energy, fructose is almost entirely processed in the liver, where it is converted into fat. This excess fat can accumulate in the liver itself and in the arteries, creating a vicious cycle that affects circulation. Poor circulation means less oxygen in tissues, reduced nerve sensitivity, and consequently a direct reduction in sexual desire and responsiveness. What begins as a small metabolic disturbance ends up affecting the heart, the brain, and masculinity itself. But the damage is not limited to the arteries. Excess fructose also disrupts hormonal balance because it interferes with the signals that tell the body when to release insulin and testosterone. When the body detects so much circulating sugar, it prioritizes insulin production to keep glucose levels under control, and in the process, neglects the production of other essential hormones. The result is a progressive drop in testosterone, which translates into lower energy, loss of muscle mass, and a noticeable decline in desire. This combination of factors affects not only intimacy, but also self-esteem and overall mood, creating a state of exhaustion that many men attribute to age when in reality it originates from what they eat. Science has shown that spikes in blood fructose also trigger internal inflammation, a bodily reaction that slowly damages blood vessels. This constant inflammation prevents arteries from relaxing properly, which is essential for good circulation. Without smooth blood flow, the supply to sexual organs decreases, affecting both physical response and the sensation of pleasure. What seems like a simple sugar overload ends up being a biological barrier between a man and his desire. And this effect intensifies with age because the body becomes less efficient at eliminating excess fat and sugar, prolonging the negative effects of each meal. For all these reasons, understanding the role of fructose is a way to regain control over health and virility. It is not about eliminating fruit entirely, but knowing how to choose and moderate it. Fresh, natural fruits consumed in reasonable amounts are an ally. In contrast, industrial juices, canned products, and desserts with syrups are a direct sabotage to well-being. Changing this habit can mean more energy in the morning, better focus throughout the day, and renewed vitality in the evening. The secret is not to give up the pleasure of eating, but to reconnect with real food, the kind that nourishes without destroying. After understanding the harmful effects of processed fruits, industrial juices, and canned products, the next step is to rediscover the power of fresh fruits. Real alternatives exist, and they are not only healthy, but can also transform the way the body responds, the mind focuses, and desire is renewed. The key is knowing how to choose, combine, and consume foods in their purest state, respecting the body's natural rhythms. A fresh fruit retains its structure, fiber, and live enzymes, elements that work in harmony to provide sustained energy without the sugar spikes that cause so much damage. Drinking a glass of juice is not the same as eating a whole apple because the fruit's fiber slows sugar absorption, allowing energy to release gradually without overloading the liver or causing a sharp subsequent drop. A good strategy is to incorporate fruits with a low glycemic index, which maintains stable sugar levels and help protect the hormonal system. Apples, pears, plums, peaches, and berries are examples of balanced options that provide vitamins, antioxidants, and flavonoids without altering testosterone production. These fruits also stimulate blood circulation, support metabolism, and strengthen the cardiovascular system, which are fundamental pillars for maintaining vitality after 60. Eating them in moderation, preferably in the morning or as an afternoon snack, allows you to enjoy their energy without overwhelming the body with fructose at times of lower activity. Another smart way to consume fruit is to pair it with natural sources of healthy fats and protein. A serving of plain yogurt with blueberries, apple slices with a little almond butter, or strawberries with a handful of nuts creates a perfect balance. This combination further slows sugar absorption and prolongs the feeling of fullness, preventing constant cravings for sweets. Additionally, these pairings support hormone production and reduce inflammation, two factors that directly translate into better energy and more stable desire. Consumed in this way, fruits become a complete and functional food capable of nourishing without punishing the body. It is also important to consider the time of day when fruits are consumed. In the morning, they help kickstart metabolism and provide clean energy to begin the day with mental clarity and good mood. In the evening, it is ideal to choose lighter fruits like kiwi or berries, which do not overload the digestive system and, thanks to their antioxidant content, support cellular recovery during sleep. Eating fruits in sync with the body's rhythm strengthens natural regeneration processes and hormonal balance, especially in older men, whose bodies need consistent support to maintain performance and vitality. By replacing processed products with fresh fruit, the body begins to detox naturally. Insulin levels stabilize, inflammation decreases, and blood flow improves, which in turn enhances physical and emotional response. In a few weeks, many men notice visible changes: less fatigue, better digestion, improved focus, and a renewed interest in intimacy. These improvements do not depend on expensive supplements or complicated diets, but on a return to essentials. Eating simply, naturally, and consciously is a quiet yet powerful way to regain lost health. Every bite becomes an investment in energy, confidence, and longevity. Adopting these real alternatives is not a sacrifice, but an act of wisdom. It means reconnecting with life's authentic flavors and understanding that food does more than fill the stomach. It shapes how we think, feel, and love. A carefully chosen plate of fresh fruit can be more powerful than any treatment because it works from within, nourishing the blood, hormones, and mind. By making this change, a man not only improves his body, but also regains a sense of control and freedom that modern life has taken away. Eating well thus becomes a form of dignity, a way of affirming that vitality does not disappear with age, but is reborn when chosen consciously. For decades, bananas have been considered a symbol of natural energy. Many men include them in their breakfast or eat them before exercise, believing they provide immediate strength and sustained vitality. However, what few know is that this fruit, although seemingly healthy, can become a silent obstacle to male energy when consumed in excess or at inappropriate times of day. Its high content of simple sugars rapidly raises blood glucose levels, generating a fleeting sense of energy that, minutes later, turns into fatigue, drowsiness, and lack of concentration. This sugar and insulin roller coaster affects not only physical performance, but also hormonal stability, which can reflect in a loss of desire or a decrease in overall vital strength. Bananas are also rich in tryptophan, an amino acid that the body converts into serotonin, the so-called happiness hormone. While this may sound positive, when serotonin levels become too high, it can trigger an excessive state of relaxation that interferes with testosterone production. In other words, The body enters a state of calm rather than action, which can affect motivation, energy, and sexual desire, especially in older men. This effect is not immediately noticeable, but over time it can generate a sense of apathy that many confuse with natural aging, without realizing that the cause lies in seemingly innocent dietary choices. Another aspect to consider is that the modern banana is not the same as what previous generations ate. Current varieties, grown intensively, are larger, sweeter, and contain more fructose than the original types. This means that a single banana can provide as much sugar as a small dessert, something a man over 60 may not always process efficiently. Moreover, when eaten without additional fiber or without being paired with protein or healthy fats, the sugar from the banana enters the bloodstream quickly, overloading the pancreas and weakening hormonal balance. This ongoing process contributes to abdominal fat accumulation, one of the factors most associated with low testosterone. However, this is not about eliminating bananas entirely, but about understanding how and when to consume them. In small amounts and at the right time, they can be a useful source of potassium and magnesium, minerals essential for muscle function and blood pressure regulation. For example, eating half a banana with Greek yogurt or a few almonds can balance its glycemic impact and allow the body to benefit from its nutrients without affecting insulin levels. What is harmful is the habit of eating multiple bananas a day or pairing them with other sweet foods, like smoothies with honey or sweetened oatmeal, which multiply the sugar effect and create an unhealthy energy dependency. Thus, the banana represents an important lesson about how even the most popular foods can have a double edge. Its sweetness and convenience have made it a universal favorite, but for the mature man seeking to maintain strength and vitality, the key lies in control and moderation. Knowing when a fruit stops being food and becomes excess is part of the learning every man must do if he wants to regain lost balance. Choosing consciously what to put on the plate is an act of self-care, and understanding the truth behind the banana is another step toward nutrition that supports desire rather than undermines it. Tryptophan is an essential amino acid that plays a key role in the body, particularly in serotonin production, a substance that regulates mood, sleep, and the sense of well-being. However, in the mature male body, this balance can become fragile. When foods rich in tryptophan, like bananas, dairy products, or certain nuts, are consumed in excess, the body tends to produce higher serotonin levels, which at first glance seems beneficial, but can actually reduce physical and mental energy. Serotonin has a calming effect on the nervous system, decreases muscle tension, and promotes relaxation, which may help with sleep but is counterproductive during the day, when the body needs to stay alert and vital. In men over 60, this overstimulation of the serotonergic system can interfere with testosterone production, as the two substances regulate each other inversely. When serotonin increases too much, dopamine levels, the hormone associated with desire, motivation, and action, tend to decrease. This is where many men begin to feel unmotivated, inexplicably tired, and less interested in intimacy. It is not just a hormonal change linked to age, but an imbalance caused by eating habits that unknowingly alter brain chemistry. Nutrition, in this sense, can be a tool for renewal or a silent source of depletion. Serotonin also directly affects sleep quality, and although sleeping well is essential for the body's regeneration, excessive serotonin can cause a constant feeling of drowsiness or mental sluggishness. This persistent calm prevents the body from reaching the energy peaks necessary to maintain muscle mass, focus, or sexual desire. In some cases, it can even affect blood circulation, reducing physical response to stimuli. This is why many men, without understanding the cause, feel they have lost their inner strength when, in reality, they are trapped in a biochemical cycle that keeps them excessively calm. To regain vitality, it is essential to learn to balance foods that contain tryptophan with those that stimulate dopamine production. Including more sources of lean protein, iron, and zinc can help counteract the effects of elevated serotonin. Foods such as fatty fish, eggs, and leafy green vegetables provide the nutrients necessary to maintain hormonal balance without inducing unnecessary drowsiness. It is also beneficial to space out tryptophan-rich meals and reserve them for evening hours, when their relaxing effect can improve rest without affecting daytime energy. Ultimately, tryptophan and serotonin are not enemies, but their excess can become a trap for men seeking to stay strong and active. The key is understanding that the body changes with age, and what once promoted well-being can now become a barrier to desire and motivation. Learning to listen to your body, observe how it responds to each food, and adjust the diet intelligently can make the difference between feeling tired and feeling alive. Regaining vitality is not about eliminating rest, but finding the right balance between calm and energy, pleasure and action, serotonin and testosterone. Maintaining energy and vitality after 60 does not mean giving up all food pleasures, but learning to choose wisely. The body of a mature man needs constant fuel, but high-quality fuel. This involves avoiding sugar spikes, processed meals, and foods that disrupt hormonal stability, replacing them with natural options that nourish both body and mind. Energy is not measured only in calories, but in the body's ability to use them efficiently without causing inflammation or fatigue. A breakfast based on light proteins, healthy fats, and low glycemic fruits can be the difference between a day of clarity and one of drowsiness. The right fruits play a key role in this balance. Some, like green apples, blackberries, or pears, provide fiber and antioxidants that regulate blood sugar and maintain stable energy flow for hours. When combined with natural nuts or a small portion of Greek yogurt, they provide a sustained energy release without affecting testosterone or triggering insulin spikes. This type of eating supports alertness, improves circulation, and keeps desire active by avoiding hormonal highs and lows that often go unnoticed. Additionally, by keeping glucose levels stable, the body can preserve nitric oxide reserves, which are essential for sexual and cardiovascular health. A common mistake among older men is relying on artificial stimulants like excessive coffee or energy drinks, seeking an immediate boost of strength. However, these products only provide a temporary, false energy, followed by an inevitable crash. Over time, this dependence can exhaust the adrenal glands and create a vicious cycle of fatigue and frustration. True energy comes from conscious nutrition, deep breathing, proper rest, and daily movement. Eating well, sleeping well, and moving well are the three pillars that sustain male vitality. On the other hand, keeping desire alive does not depend solely on the physical. Nutrition also influences the mind and emotions. By choosing foods rich in zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6, natural production of testosterone and dopamine, the two substances that regulate sexual drive and a sense of accomplishment, is stimulated. Including seafood, pumpkin seeds, avocado, and leafy greens can be just as important as any medication or supplement. These foods nourish cells, oxygenate the blood, and restore a man's sense of power and self-confidence, something that age should not take away. Maintaining energy without diminishing desire means respecting the body's rhythms, choosing what strengthens it and avoiding what weakens it. It's about listening to the subtle messages your body sends every day: mental clarity upon waking, lightness after eating, quality of nighttime rest. When everything is in balance, vitality flows naturally. But when something is off, it signals that the body needs change. When that change is made with knowledge, the result is not just better health, but a fuller, more active life with energy felt in every aspect, from the mind to intimacy. At first glance, dried fruits seem like a healthy option, especially because they are small, easy to store, and full of flavor. Many men choose them thinking they provide natural energy and are a healthier alternative to processed sweets. However, behind their innocent appearance hides a silent enemy that slowly weakens male vitality. Dried fruits concentrate a large amount of sugar into tiny portions. By removing water during the drying process, natural sugars become denser, multiplying their impact on the body. Eating a small handful of raisins or dates is, in terms of glucose, equivalent to consuming several tablespoons of refined sugar. Over time, this excess sugar directly affects hormone production, especially testosterone, by generating insulin spikes and increasing cellular resistance. High insulin interferes with the body's ability to produce the sex hormones needed to maintain desire, energy, and muscle mass. Moreover, dried fruits are often treated with preservatives, syrups, or low-quality vegetable oils that worsen their metabolic impact. Many commercial products include sulfur dioxide or added glucose, turning what could be beneficial into a food that overloads the liver and disrupts the endocrine system. The result is a more fatigued body, with reduced recovery capacity and a constant sense of tiredness, often mistaken for age, when in reality it stems from poor dietary choices. Another concerning factor is that dried fruit consumption alters appetite and the relationship with food. Being so sweet and concentrated, they produce an immediate pleasurable response in the brain, similar to sugary desserts. This creates a false sense of well-being and a need to repeat consumption, leading to a difficult-to-break vicious cycle. In older men, this habit can increase abdominal fat, reduce insulin sensitivity, and impair blood circulation, three conditions that directly affect physical and sexual performance. What seems like harmless sweetness becomes a barrier to real energy, slowly draining the vital force the body needs to function fully. However, not all dried fruits need to be eliminated completely. It's about learning to consume them with balance and awareness. Almonds, walnuts, or hazelnuts, though not technically dried fruits, offer healthy fats and minerals that support testosterone when eaten in moderation and without additives. Even raisins or dried figs can be part of a balanced diet if chosen in their natural form, without added sugars or oils, and combined with protein or healthy fats to prevent glucose spikes. The secret is quantity and context. A small handful per day, accompanied by fiber or protein-rich foods, can be beneficial, while excessive consumption, especially between meals or as a substitute for a healthy snack, can become a silent sabotage of energy and virility. A man seeking to regain strength after 60 must understand that it's not about eliminating the pleasure of eating, but choosing the right pleasure. Retraining the palate to enjoy less sweet, more natural, balanced flavors is essential to free the body from sugar dependence. This dietary freedom also brings hormonal and emotional freedom, because inner balance begins with what is placed on the plate every day. Dried fruits, if not controlled, may seem like a source of energy, but in reality, steal the strength one seeks to preserve. There are three invisible pillars that sustain male vitality: sugar control, adequate zinc levels, and sleep quality. These three elements are deeply connected, although their direct relationship with energy, desire, and hormonal balance is often overlooked. When blood sugar is out of control, the body enters a state of constant stress, releasing cortisol and reducing the ability to produce testosterone. The stress hormone dominates over the desire hormone, stealing energy, focus, and emotional stability. In this context, zinc appears as a key mineral, almost miraculous, capable of restoring the lost balance, as it is directly involved in testosterone synthesis and immune system maintenance. However, excess sugar inhibits its absorption and gradually expels it from the body, leaving the system without one of its most valuable defenses. Sleep, in turn, acts as the natural restorer of all hormonal processes. During deep rest, the body produces most of its testosterone and regulates insulin, cortisol, and leptin. But if the diet is overloaded with sugar or there is a zinc deficiency, sleep quality deteriorates and becomes fragmented. Poor sleep over weeks or months not only generates fatigue, but slowly diminishes virility, motivation, and physical recovery. Many men, upon reaching 60, believe insomnia or light sleep is an inevitable consequence of age, when in fact these are signals from the body asking for nutritional balance. Restoring that balance requires a complete review of daily habits, from what is eaten to how rest is structured. Zinc is found in foods that have often disappeared from the modern diet, such as seafood, pumpkin seeds, or high-quality lean meats. This mineral not only supports testosterone production, but also improves circulation, strengthens memory, and helps the nervous system manage stress. Adequate zinc levels enhance the restorative effect of sleep, allowing the body to recover more quickly and efficiently. Conversely, a diet based on processed and sugar-rich foods slowly depletes zinc reserves, weakening defenses and reducing libido. Controlling sugar, therefore, is not just a matter of aesthetics or weight, it's an act of hormonal and vital preservation. Learning to balance this triad means regaining control over your own body. When sugar intake is reduced, sleep almost immediately improves and energy levels stabilize throughout the day. With restorative rest, the body responds better to exercise and the mind remains clearer. If an adequate amount of zinc is also included in the diet, the results multiply as the body regains its natural ability to produce and maintain healthy testosterone levels. This combination restores not only physical strength, but also confidence, emotional stability, and the desire to live fully. In short, the balance between sugar, zinc, and sleep is not a luxury. It is a fundamental necessity for any man wishing to preserve vitality beyond age. Pomegranate has been considered since ancient times a symbol of strength, fertility, and longevity, but beyond its symbolic value, this fruit holds real potential to revitalize the male body. Its juice, deep red in color, is loaded with natural antioxidants that act as shields against cellular aging and inflammation. For men over 60, one of the greatest challenges is blood circulation, which tends to slow with age, affecting not only cardiovascular health, but also vitality and physical performance. Pomegranate helps reverse this process by strengthening blood vessel walls and improving tissue oxygenation, especially in the most sensitive areas of the body. When blood flows freely, the body responds with energy, and the mind regains a sense of confidence and stability. Regular pomegranate consumption has a direct impact on testosterone. Scientific studies have shown that its polyphenol and ellagic acid stimulate natural production of this hormone, helping to balance hormone levels gradually and sustainably. It is not an immediate effect, but a gradual process in which the body recovers its natural capacity to produce and utilize its own testosterone. Additionally, pomegranate antioxidants protect the heart, reduce LDL cholesterol, and increase arterial elasticity, three essential factors for maintaining good circulation and an active, healthy sexual life. Vitality comes not only from physical strength, but also from good circulation and a strong heart, and pomegranate contributes directly to both. Another notable effect of this fruit is its ability to reduce oxidative stress, which accumulates with age and damages cells. This type of damage affects the skin, muscles, and especially the endocrine system, where testosterone is produced. Including pomegranate in the diet helps the body eliminate toxins that hinder these processes, restoring a sense of lightness and mental clarity. Many men report that after a few weeks of consumption, they not only notice improved circulation, but also a renewed sense of well-being and self-confidence. Pomegranate, therefore, is not just a fruit for the heart, but also a silent ally for mood and self-esteem. Incorporating pomegranate into a daily routine can be simple if chosen consciously. It can be consumed as natural juice in the morning, added to salads, or eaten fresh, enjoying its juicy and slightly tart seeds. The important thing is consistency, as its benefits accumulate over time. Large quantities are not necessary. Small daily doses are enough to notice its revitalizing effects. This simple habit can make the difference between feeling the passage of years as a loss or living it as a stage of balance and fullness. Pomegranate reminds us that youth is measured not just by age, but by the quality of the blood flowing through the veins and the confidence with which each day is faced. Among fruits that strengthen male vitality and energy, few combinations are as powerful as kiwi, watermelon, and blueberries. Each on its own offers exceptional benefits, but when integrated into the same dietary routine, they create a synergistic effect that deeply revitalizes the body. Kiwi, with its high vitamin C content, strengthens the immune system, improves collagen production, and supports blood circulation. It is a cleansing and oxygenating fruit, helping to maintain flexible arteries and an active heart. Watermelon, on the other hand, stands out for its ability to hydrate and stimulate vasodilation thanks to citrulline, an amino acid that improves blood flow to all organs, including those responsible for sexual function. Finally, blueberries, rich in antioxidants and anthocyanins, protect capillaries and fight free radicals that accelerate cellular aging. Together, These three fruits form a natural shield against fatigue, oxidative stress, and loss of vigor. Kiwi, with its refreshing and slightly tart flavor, is not only an extraordinary source of vitamin C, but also potassium and magnesium, two minerals essential for muscle and nerve function. Maintaining mineral balance is key for the body to respond with energy and stability, especially in men over 60. Regular consumption promotes better circulation, helps control blood pressure, and contributes to more restorative sleep. When the body rests properly and blood flows freely, vitality naturally returns. Watermelon, in turn, hides a powerful secret. Its citrulline content, a little-known amino acid, acts as a natural vasodilator. This means it helps relax blood vessel walls, allowing more abundant and consistent blood flow. This effect has direct consequences on sexual health and physical performance, improving tissue oxygenation and supporting a firmer, longer-lasting response. Additionally, being largely composed of water, watermelon contributes to deep hydration, essential for maintaining energy and mental clarity throughout the day. Its natural sweetness, combined with lightness, makes it ideal for consumption in warm months when the body needs freshness and vitality. Blueberries complete this golden trio with their impressive antioxidant capacity. These small blue fruits protect the circulatory system, reduce cholesterol accumulation in arteries, and strengthen the finest capillaries. They also improve memory, stimulate concentration, and support the nervous system, directly affecting emotional and mental well-being. Numerous studies have shown that regular blueberry consumption is associated with better cognitive function and a lower risk of cardiovascular disease. In men, this translates to a sharper mind, greater physical endurance, and a sense of emotional stability that reinforces self-confidence. The combination of kiwi, watermelon, and blueberries offers a symphony of benefits that goes beyond simple nutrition. These fruits work together to rejuvenate arteries, increase nitric oxide production, and support circulation, three fundamental pillars of male vitality. Including them in a daily diet is a simple and delicious way to care for the body from within, without resorting to artificial supplements or miracle products. Every bite provides energy, clarity, and balance, reminding us that true strength does not come from youth, but from the ability to nourish the body with what it truly needs to thrive. Adopting a diet that supports male vitality after 60 does not have to be complicated or require drastic changes. The key is to transform small daily decisions into conscious habits that, over time, create a real impact on well-being. Incorporating fruits like kiwi, watermelon, blueberries, or pomegranate into a daily routine can be simple, practical, and enjoyable. It is not about extreme diets, but learning to replace unnecessary foods with those that truly nourish. For example, starting the day with a smoothie made from kiwi, a handful of blueberries, and a touch of oats can be an excellent way to awaken the body, stimulate circulation, and provide antioxidants from the first hour of the morning. At lunch, small adjustments can be made without completely changing the usual menu. A fresh salad with chunks of watermelon and green leaves, or a pomegranate dessert with natural yogurt, can make the difference between a meal that simply fills you and one that revitalizes. These combinations not only add flavor and color to the plate, but also help stabilize glucose levels and prevent insulin spikes, which often cause fatigue and drowsiness. The key is to integrate fruits within the context of a balanced diet, rich in lean proteins, healthy fats, and fiber, so the body receives everything it needs without feeling overloaded. In the afternoon, when fatigue begins to appear, a portion of fresh fruit can easily replace industrial snacks or processed sweets. A handful of blueberries or a piece of cold watermelon not only hydrates, but also provides a natural energy boost that improves mood and concentration. Many men discover that by making these changes, their need for coffee or stimulants decreases, which in turn improves sleep quality and reduces irritability. These fruits act quietly but consistently, helping the body regain its natural rhythm. Evening offers a perfect opportunity to care for nutrition effortlessly. A light herbal infusion accompanied by a kiwi or a small bowl of pomegranate not only aids digestion, but also prepares the body for deep rest. Sleeping well is essential for maintaining healthy testosterone levels, and a diet rich in micronutrients contributes directly to hormonal balance. Additionally, these fruits provide a feeling of satiety without heaviness, allowing for uninterrupted rest and waking up with renewed energy. Incorporating these habits does not require major investments or sacrifices, only consistency and a willingness to care for oneself. As the body adapts, the benefits become evident: greater energy, more radiant skin, a clearer mind, and an overall sense of well-being. Eating stops being an automatic routine and becomes an act of awareness and respect for one's health. Every choice at the table becomes a statement of vitality, a silent yet powerful way to regain control over body and mind. Reaching 60 does not mean losing strength, desire, or vitality. It marks the beginning of a stage where the body demands attention, respect, and balance. Many men believe that fatigue, lack of energy, or decreased desire are inevitable consequences of aging, when in reality they are signals from the body asking for change. Regaining power does not depend on age, but on the awareness with which foods, routines, and priorities are chosen. Every daily decision, no matter how small, has the power to transform how the body responds and how masculinity is experienced. Eating mindfully, getting enough rest, and maintaining a positive attitude toward well-being are silent acts of rebellion against the myth of decline. Nutrition plays a central role in this recovery process. By eliminating energy-draining foods and adopting those that regenerate, a balance is established that goes beyond the physical. The body becomes more agile, the mind clearer, and mood more stable. Testosterone, often thought lost, can return to healthy levels when refined sugars, pesticides, and processed foods are reduced. Simply incorporating fruits like pomegranate, kiwi, or blueberries, along with a balanced diet and moderate activity, can create a profound and lasting change. These everyday choices not only improve health, but also restore confidence, the sense of self-mastery many men believed forgotten. Regaining power also means reconnecting with oneself. It is looking in the mirror and recognizing that vitality is not measured by chronological age, but by the internal energy nurtured daily through conscious actions. It is understanding that caring for nutrition is not an obligation, but an act of respect for one's history and for what remains to be lived. Every chosen fruit, every meal prepared with intention, every walk or well-taken rest becomes a declaration of self-love. The body responds with gratitude in the form of balance, desire, and well-being. The final message is clear: youth is not a number, it is a decision. It is not about fighting time, but learning to live in harmony with it. The kitchen, a daily space often overlooked, can become the starting point of a new stage of fulfillment. What once seemed like a health problem or an inevitable consequence of age now reveals itself as an opportunity to be reborn with greater strength and clarity. True virility is not in appearance or years lived, but in the ability to choose consciously, listen to the body, and act wisely. Regaining power, in the end, is remembering that life continues to offer infinite possibilities to those who dare to care for themselves and believe they can still be their best version.